Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. So as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be doing my little Q&A session here today. Just in case you guys don't know exactly what's going on, when I hit 250 subscribers, I said I would do a Q&A session, so people have been submitting questions over the past 2 weeks, I believe, and so today I'm going to be answering the questions that you guys have submitted. I have broken up the questions into two parts. There's the reading related questions and then there are the non-reading related questions. I just broke it up like that so it'd be easier to answer the questions, and also if you guys aren't really interested in stuff about me, you can, skip the end. So the first question is, what is your favorite book? My favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird. It has been since I read it my freshman year of high school, and I reread it almost every year. And then someone else actually asked, what are your top 5 favorite books? I cannot answer that question. It's actually impossible for me to answer that question because I don't think I can limit myself to 5, because there are so many books that I've read that are really, really great that limiting it to only 5. It's really easy for me to pick one because To Kill a Mockingbird is just like the one fictional book where I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing and I always want to read this and I love it so much. I don't really have a top 5. I mean, there's so many books that I love. I mean, just in the Harry Potter series alone, 4 through 7 are amazing, and that would automatically take up a bunch of spots if I listed those individually. And then there's just way too many books for me to pick a top 5. If you're interested in to know what some of my favorite books are, you can check out my Goodreads. I have a shelf called Favorites. So anytime there's a book that I really, really, really love, it's not just I really enjoyed it, but it's oh my gosh, this could be in my top favorite books ever, I put it on that shelf, so you guys can check out that shelf down on my Goodreads. The next question is, what is your favorite genre? I would probably say my favorite genre, or the genre I tend to read the most, is either contemporary fiction or classic fiction. If you look at my bookshelf tour, that's the vast majority of my books tend to fall into those categories. The next would be probably contemporary young adult, and then I really love American history as well, so I have a lot of American history books. Next is, who's my favorite literary character? Atticus from To Kill a Mockingbird. He's just a great example of what a man should be and what, even just human beings should be standing up for what's right, having courage, being brave, things like that. So I really, really loved him so much. I love To Kill a Mockingbird so much, I kind of want to name my future son, if I have one, Atticus. But I also know that if I did that, he would probably get beat up in school, so I probably won't do it. But then at the same time, I might copy John Green, because John Green named his son Henry, but his middle name is Atticus, so I might do that. But we'll see what happens. Not that I have to worry about those things anytime soon. What is my least favorite book? I don't know. I don't really have a least favorite book, or at least I don't really keep track of books I didn't enjoy that much. I mean, I kind of know some. I'm not really big into Twilight or, vampire-y type books at all, but I don't know if I would say that's my least favorite book. There are a bunch of books that I've read throughout the years that I was just I didn't really care for this, but I never really discredit books. I try not to, just because every book has its audience. There's someone out there who would probably like every book out there. Are you a fast reader, and how fast do you read? I don't think I'm a fast reader. I don't know what's considered a fast reader. I feel there's some people who can really zip through books. I'm not really like that. I can read through young adult books pretty quick, just because they're young adult books. I mean, the font's bigger. They're usually only around 200 pages. So I can get through those in a day or so. Usually adult books, it takes me closer to a week to read. I mean, that's also just because of timing and things like that, having time to sit down and really read. It usually takes me about a week to get through adult books. I don't know exactly how fast I read. I think I do a page a minute. That's what it usually averages out to. It depends, some books are a lot denser, so you need to read them slower, or you need to reread parts. So I've never actually sat down and timed myself. There's one time where I think online they had some sort of reading test, so you could take it and see how fast you read. But if I know I'm being timed, I get more anxious, and I start to read faster. The time I get is actually means something. So it's really hard for me to say, but I would say I read about a page a minute. I don't know if that's fast or slow. You guys can let me know. I don't know what average is, so it's hard for me to compare myself. Next is, what books did you enjoy reading as a kid? When I was like little, I really loved Berenstain Bears. I loved Amelia Bedelia, Wayside School. And then as I got older, I got into like Judy Blume books, the Fudge series, Ramona books. I also really enjoyed Sweet Valley High and Sweet Valley Junior High. I actually still have a Sweet Valley Junior High related book in my bookshelf. You may have seen that on the bookshelf tour. I have Mrs. Pigglewiggle. I have a Mrs. Pigglewiggle book. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I love those books. Those are really great. I read a lot of Nancy Drew books. That was like a phase I went through. I was really into like mystery things, so I wanted to be like Nancy Drew or Harriet the Spy, things like that. So I went through a phase where I read a lot of Nancy Drew books. How do you pick the books that you buy? This is like a really complicated question for me that people ask me all the time. Even my friends are like, you read so much, how do you know what books to pick up and things like that? I like love books and I love reading about books and hearing about books, so I like purposely search out these things. I actually go and like seek out book reviews when things are going on. You know, I read the New York Times book review, the Los Angeles Times book review, NPR has a really good book section, you know, Chicago Tribune has a pretty decent book section. I don't necessarily love like every book the New York Times loves, but I know I've done the research enough or I've used them enough that I know based on what they're saying like if I will like the book or not. Like even if they love it, I can kind of tell whether or not I'm gonna like those books. Obviously the booktuber community is amazing for this as well. You know, watching all of these different reviews and hauls, you hear about a lot of books. Because of the booktuber community, I hear about a lot more young adult books than I did before. I follow like a million different authors, publishers, and bookstores, Twitter accounts, and Tumblrs. I follow like a million of those. They're always like posting about what their bestsellers are, or books that they're reading, that they're highlighting. Sometimes I do just walk into a bookstore and just like wander and see what catches my eye. Usually when I do things like that, I'll like Google the book really quick on my phone. I have a smartphone, so I'll just like look it up really quick and I'll check out the Amazon and Goodreads ratings as well and see what people are saying through that. The next question is kind of a cruel one. It's if you had to get rid of your entire book collection and only hang on to one book, what book would you keep? This was like impossible for me to choose. I don't know what I would do. If I consider my Bible as a part of my book collection, I would keep my Bible because that thing I've had since high school and like I've written in it and it's like falling apart. This is my Bible. You can probably already see like the cover can completely come off, and then also the binding is starting to come off, so like it comes apart into sections. So I mean this like thing is really worn out. I write in my Bible and I underline. I don't even know if you guys can see that, but I underline and I mark things up in my Bible, so this would be the one I keep. You can tell how much it's falling apart. I should probably get a new one, but I don't want to because I don't want to lose all the notes and things I've marked in here. I really do want to get this rebound, but all the places I contact are like, I have to give it up for like minimum 2 weeks. Most of them say closer to a month. So I'm like, I don't know if I want to give up my Bible for that long. So that's like the real answer. I would honestly keep this. That seems like such a cop-out answer, but that really is the truth. If I was to choose, like, if you don't include my Bible in this and I had to choose a book, it's really hard for me to decide. I mean, I would probably want to save the books that I got autographed by authors. I mean, I have more than one of those though, that's problematic. And then also, like, I don't want to lose my Harry Potter books. Those are expensive to get in hardcover. Don't make me do this. The next question is approximately how many books do you own? So I'm kind of OCD. And I started an Excel sheet to keep track of all my books, so that way also like when I'm giving books out I know exactly who has them, and then also I mark whether or not I've read them or not, so it's an easy way for me to know now I have like whatever, however many books unread. So anyways, on there, according to that Excel sheet, I have 303 books, but I also know that some of the new books that I just bought like recently, like the ones I showed in my last book haul, I haven't added to that Google Doc, so it's probably closer to like 310-ish, which is a lot of books, I know, and it's why, you know, my bookshelves are full and I'm filling them in my dresser, so I have a problem. It's pretty known. And the final question that I have for the book section is, have you read Model Land by Tyra Banks? No, I haven't. I don't really want to. I mean, I don't know anything about it other than I'm assuming it's about a model. And it's by Tyra Banks. I looked it up really quick after I got this question just because I didn't really like look that much into it. I'd heard of it before, but I didn't really know anything about it, so I looked it up really quick, and the reviews aren't great. It's either like People gave it 5 stars or people gave it 1 star. When it's books where it's like that much of an extreme with reviews, I usually stay away from them because I usually tend to fall into the 1 star category. So I don't really want to unless someone out there really, really loved it. If anyone has a review, feel free to like post a link to that in the comments and I'll check that out. My ears feel funny. Obviously, like the booktuber community is amazing for this, like reading. Next is approximately how many books do you own? Oh, I need to look this up.